And welcome back to the Trevor Report. Let's jump right on into it. We have my website. Become a member at theacropolisnews.com. You know why you should do that? Because I'm doing the groundwork, the philosophical work to expose all the latest nonsense. Well, not the latest nonsense, but a bunch of nonsense, like this video where I went over the origins of leftist hypocrisy, the philosophical teleology of leftist hypocrisy. Or you can check out any of the future premium podcasts we'll have very soon. And another thing, too, your subscription to a membership at theacropolisnews.com counts as two things. The first thing it counts as is, well, you get access to the premium podcast. The second thing you get access to is eventually this will be an alternative to Netflix, okay? And that comes in your subscription. And you get the future exclusive reporting all in one membership. It's awesome. I highly recommend you do it. You get to support some independent media, support some independent journalism in the future, and all of those really neat things. Let's jump on into it. Biden in 60 Minutes on CNN, the communist news network, as it were, declared the pandemic over, but we have a lot of the emergency powers still in place. So fine, whatever. Temporary government orders and issues are not temporary, but he announced that he'd run for president while saying that he wouldn't run for president simultaneously, which, okay. I don't want to get in the middle. Biden told CBS he had not been briefed on the contents of the documents that were removed from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence by the FBI in August. That's not true. All previous reports linked down below in the description. That's just a lie that he said, and he's a politician. So he also said that the U.S. military personnel would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion, sparking some World War III fears, but don't think that's going to happen. I think whatever happens, Biden is going to let Taiwan go the way Afghanistan went, which is very terribly, and not defend it at all. But after Biden stated the obvious, I guess, Moderna, BioNTech, and Novavax plunge after Biden says the COVID-19 pandemic is over. The stocks for Moderna, BioNTech, and Novavax fell almost 10% on Monday's trading session. That is a fairly big dip. That's a really big dip. And big pharma losing money is always good. Always good. Always good. The military-industrial complex losing money, always good. Anything you can think of that is responsible for as many problems as institutions like the military-industrial complex and big pharma are responsible for, when they lose money, it is always a good thing. Always. It will never not be a good thing. And I am happy it happened. The people who haven't sold their shares or whatever, this isn't economic advice. This is political advice, because I give the best political advice on the planet. It sucks to be them. If you didn't sell your shares earlier, sucks to be you. I didn't have any shares in these institutions because I vote with my wallet, and when I exercise power, I try that as you do when you vote. I try not to be evil. Anyway, Canadian biologically male teacher wears massive prosthetic breasts to school. He wears two... I don't even know what to call the size of his fake breasts, but what he has here, essentially, what this man is doing, quote unquote, is he's just saying, "Give me attention," and then when he gets the attention that he's looking for, by dressing in a non-prudent way, purposefully, when he gets that attention, he decries the people who he gets the attention from as evil, and the people around him defend him for it. So in other words, he's like your typical woman, incidentally. He's just like your typical woman, but he's in shop class. It would have been nice to have shop class, but in school I didn't have that because I grew up in California. But you know, if this was my teacher, I probably wouldn't want this happening either. I probably wouldn't want shop class either. These kids here definitely don't think it's normal, but realistically, we can't say anything. Last year, the teacher was a man, and I don't think the school can fire him. In a video which would likely make any health and safety expert wince, the teacher can be seen demonstrating to the class of high school students how to use a circular saw with a long wig dangling down near the blade. The outlandish individual has been identified by Redux as, I'm not going to say the name, I'm not going to pull a Taylor Lorenz, who is a manufacturing and technology instructor at Oakville Trafalgar, French name presumably, high school in Oakville, Ontario. Basically, if you still live in Canada, if you have your children in public school in Canada as a Canadian citizen, and you continue to do so, this right here is your fault. Completely your fault. This is your fault. You are participating in this system. There's no reason you can't live a bit. You can't live a little bit and parent your child. Okay, you are responsible for your child's education, and just because you have allocated that responsibility to an institution, that doesn't mean that the responsibility is still not within you. Okay? Because you're just gonna get weirdos. Okay? It is artsy theater kids who graduate these Ivy League universities. Okay? Lenin was an artsy theater kid. Trudeau, artsy theater kid. Hitler, failed art school twice. Artsy theater kid. Okay? Just take control of your own children's future. Children cannot consent. If you have a child, it is up to you to protect your child. But we should move on a little bit. This isn't breaking news, but I gathered it when it was breaking, so I guess I'll just hit refresh. It doesn't look like there's any changes. Stuff in the latest news stuff. But anyway, breaking. Arizona superintendent sued over sex chat room for minors post-millennial. Arizona Department of Education Superintendent Kathy Hoffman has been sued for sending explicit sexual material to children. According to the Arizona Free News, in the lawsuit filed in Maricopa County Superior Court, Hoffman accused Hoffman of advertising links to chat rooms where minors discuss sex and gender with adults and without the parents necessarily knowing. Okay, groomer. Anyway, Judge Peter Thompson will preside over the case. Let's look a little bit more. Chat rooms have a quick escape function that Hoffman claims violate Arizona's Bill of Parental Rights. In the suit, it specified how Hoffman advertised the Q chat space, which is aimed at LGBTQ plus youth 13 years of age or under. As long as the plus is there, there is a P in the waiting for pedophilia. Like the Arizona superintendent that permitted this disgusting debauchery. Anyway, let's continue. There was a man, and I say the term man. When I say man, I don't mean honorable man, but there is a man who ran over a 18-year-old kid, just 2 years younger than me. And the reason he ran him over is not because it was an accident, though it was a drunken stupor, but he ran over this kid because he disagreed with the child's politics. He believed this child to be a Republican extremist. The United States was founded on constitutional republicanism, so how can his views be extreme is anyone's guess. It's literally not. In Britain, maybe. Or sorry, in the United Kingdom, maybe. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. on the extremist side, but constitutional republicanism and constitutional monarchies, not very much of a not very much of a difference. It's just who has control over the federal government. Is it a monarchical institution or a presidency? You get the point. But here's what's missing in this. And it's been pointed out a lot. Okay? Oh, the hypocrisy. Oh, the hypocrisy. If only the Democrats and the leftists would stop being hypocrites. There's an entire ideological teleology that completely excuses, from a leftist perspective, their own bigotry and hypocrisy. And I went over it on a premium podcast over on theacropolisnews.com with a special guest. But anyway, so this dude ran over this kid. I'm not gonna say the names. There's innocent until proven guilty. Although the guy that ran the kid over admitted to doing so, but still, I've learned my lesson. I'm gonna wait for the court cases on this one because I've learned my lesson, or I guess I've learned a lesson, I suppose, of not jumping to the gun on these kinds of things. It is a political recap show, after all, the Trevor Report. All previous reports linked down below in the description if you want to get the full recap experience. Though past 6 months, haven't really figured it out. Kind of boring, but anyway. Long story short, people are like, "Oh, the Biden called Democrat." Like I watched Tim Pool's show. He talked about this, not his podcast, his like YouTube thing. That's in a similar format to this one. Essentially, he's like, "Oh, Biden said Republicans and MAGA are extremist, and they are a threat to democracy." And then 3 weeks later, a kid died. Stochastic terrorism. I don't remember if he said stochastic terrorism or not. And the thing is, yes, it is stochastic terrorism. However, one of the problem is that the people who are engaging in repressive tolerance. The spoiler alert for the podcast. You know. Okay, but they don't care. They're literally operating from the premise of, when we do it, it is good. When you do it, it is bad. When you defend yourself from our violence, you're bad. But when we set buildings on fire and destroy buildings, okay, then it's good because we're doing it. Okay? You can't negotiate with people who think this way. And not everyone on the left thinks this way, okay? Jimmy Dore doesn't think this way. Glenn Greenwald doesn't think this way. There are a few others off the top of my head. Destiny, I suppose, is a commentator on the left. Technically, he's a neoliberal, which is left-wing. But but there are the people who are committed, absolutely committed to the supremacy of reason against their own humanity. And they believe that the supremacy of their reason goes above any and all concerns, including the lives of other people, or maybe, I don't know, the education of children and debauching the innocence of children, or, I don't know, continuing to use emergency powers. This is just this week, by the way, the past couple of days. Okay? And I'm recapping Monday's news and Tuesday's news. Okay? This video goes out on Wednesday morning. Or if you're listening on Spotify, it goes out on Wednesday morning. But an hour earlier. You should check out Spotify, by the way. But it just kind of becomes one of those things where I'm just so jaded with saying, oh, look at how hypocritical these people are. Oh, man, I can't believe the people who have been engaging in violence for 7 years are continuing to engage in violence and excusing themselves for their own violence with the same excuses that they've been excusing their own violence for. Oh, man, I can't believe they've done this, guys. Because they're under the premise of there is no truth but power. Case in point, gays against groomers have been banned from using Venmo and PayPal. So in other words, the vast majority of payment processors they've been banned from. And by the way, when you get banned from PayPal, if you have money in your PayPal, they can hold the money in your PayPal wallet for up to 180 days. That's in their terms of service for violating their user agreements. It's in the name. Gays against groomers. Like, bro. Against LGBT? No. Nope, that's not what's going on. This is a thorn in the side for the pseudo-benevolent identitarian aristocrat class. And for being against the pseudo-benevolent identitarian aristocrat class, you are to be punished. Did I forget to like this post? I just caught lacking right there. Oh well, anyway, let's move on. Massive victory for freedom of speech when Fed court upholds Supreme Court Texas law prohibiting big tech censorship. Yep, you heard that right. This is from Attorney General Ken Paxton. I just heard a massive victory for the Constitution and free speech in federal court. Hashtag big tech cannot censor the political voices of any Texan. The Fifth Circuit rejects the idea that corporations have a freewheeling First Amendment right to censor what people say. When the Republicans take over the House and the Senate in later this year of 2022, they should rely on this federal precedent to set a federal law that prohibits this in every single state. Every single state. Okay? The US is the world empire for the West. Freedom of speech, okay, is a Western liberal democracy value. If countries are going to be engaging in Western liberal democracy and singing the praises of Western liberal democracy, then they need to do their duty and uphold the values of Western liberal democracy. Okay? Or the United States and Britain can form the Holy American Britannian Alliance and the Holy Britannian American Alliance and become the greatest empire the world has ever known. If we're going to abandon liberal democracy, okay, then the United States and the United Kingdom can become the greatest empire the world has ever known, and draft everyone who exercises their Second Amendment rights, everyone with a gun permit in the United States. I'm kidding, by the way. But like I said, I think that legislation should pass, and if it doesn't go through by the second quarter of 2023, well, you know, a lot of Republicans are essentially the controlled opposition of the Democrats. It also goes by the name of Neocon Neolib Uniparty. And I'll just chalk it up to that, and then I'll promote more and more national populists to get into office. I want to prevent civil war. But anyway, let's continue. Ron DeSantis sends 2 planes of illegal migrants to Martha's Vineyard. I've already covered this, but there's some even more developments after they've been deported. This is super funny. This is a whole new level of funny, okay? This guy went to CNN and compared busing to the Holocaust and said that the Holocaust is about using people as political tools, which doesn't make sense. The Holocaust was about killing Jews, you genocide denier. I don't know how to even respond to such stupidity. I really don't. But let's continue. A Latino civil rights leader, accuses Texas Governor Greg Abbott of human trafficking. He is not a Latino civil rights leader. He is a Latinx civil rights leader. All previous Trevor reports linked down below in the description. I gotta move on, as much as I'd love to rag on how funny this is, but I've already done it on a previous Trevor report, so not going to. Anyway, Jean-Pierre admits Biden never reached out to DeSantis for a border solution, and that's why this stuff is happening. This is good bants. I've been saying this for weeks now. If you want, there's no reason Republican states should fit the bill to assist in the importing, okay, of a slave class for the neocon neolib uniparty. Okay? If you want this so badly, you can foot the bill. You can face the negative consequences of your own actions. Okay? They get sent back. Well, you know what? When they come back, send them back to Martha's Vineyard. Just send it back. I'm going to leave it at that. In the meantime, my name is Trevor Brown, and you've just watched the Trevor Report. Do click the link tree down below in the description that I was forced to make because Linktree banned my previous link tree because I said black nationalism was bad right after there was a black nationalist terrorist attack, the Waukesha parade. And so they banned my link tree. So I made a new one, and it's on my website because I don't like submitting to my corporate overlords. Down below in the description. Thank you so much. Do become a member of the Acropolis affiliate program or become a member at theacropolisnews.com. Thank you so much.
Acropolis News. News from the Acropolis.